Now we are leading towards the keynote address. Before I move to Honorable Dr. Dilip Barad, let me introduce our distinguished speaker. Professor Dilip Barad is a Dean, Faculty of Arts, MK Bhavnagar University, Gujarat. He is also a member of Executive Council, MK Bhavnagar University, Chairman Board of Studies English, Member Board of Academic Planning, Member Academic Council, Member Board of PG Teaching and Research, and Member IQC, MK Bhavnagar University, Gujarat. Beside, he is the convener, Digital India Cell, Nodal Officer, National Academic Depository, Member, University Library Committee, and Chairman, Ad hoc Board of the Journalism and Mass Media, MK Bhavnagar University, Gujarat. Sir has successfully completed UGC-sponsored research project on the use of technology for teaching English literature and language. MHRD, NM, EICT, e-content project on e-content for the literary theory and criticism. Beside, Professor Dilip Barad has published more than 300 blogs. Not only this, sir has trained more than 700 plus teachers across India in different modules related to online teaching, blended learning, ICT in the language teaching, digital portfolio, e-content development and management, etc. He has also delivered presentation at a various seminar conferences as invited speaker. Professor Dilip Barad has kept himself updated with several professional. Professor Dilip Barad has kept professional development training programs. He has successfully completed online course on the Coursera from University of Pennsylvania, USA, University of Melbourne, Australia, the Ohio State University, USA, University of London, England, University of Oregon, USA, and Harvard University, to name a few. Such a dynamic personality is along with us. We are going to enlighten by Dr. Barad's by his depth of knowledge and practical experience. So without wasting a time, I request Honorable Dr. Dilip Barad to deliver his inaugural address. Over to you, Honorable Dr. Dilip Barad.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, the college, the organizers, Kamala Nehru Mahavidyalay, the principal, the managing trustees, the organizing committee for inviting me into the inauguration of this very, very interesting webinar. The topic itself is quite interesting and need of the hour also. Digitized English at social media. So it's very interesting because if we do not look what is happening around us, then actually we are not looking anywhere. Remaining only in the past or only in the future is not something that is that meaningful, as it is equally important to look what is happening around us. And so if something is really happening, I put the word happening into double inverted comma, then it is the digital culture, the digital life. That is something that is very much happening thing around us. Language, as we know, is the torch bearer of our culture or whatever we do. Without language, we can't do anything. So it is not the concern only of English teachers or the teachers of any language, Marathi or Gujarati or Hindi, but it is the concern of everybody that what is happening to our language because of digital life, because of digital culture. And so it is good to see that this kind of webinar conferences and brainstorming, people look at the language, they try to investigate something interesting is necessary. So congratulations to the people who came with this idea about digitized English at social media. Very interesting point. I don't want to go deep into the theories because you have a wonderful speakers in terms of plenary speakers as well as the keynote address who are going to speak more in detail about what is happening to our language because of digitalized life. But I would like to share some practical way of looking at this in this inaugural talk. Let me share my presentation and yeah, let me. I hope my presentation is visible. So digitized English at social media. Now here is a slide that is coming from one of my students. Yeah? This and this also. Two slides I would like to talk about. This is notice the language here. One of the students is asking me the question. The questions are in a way similar, but one question is reading, can please guide me how to write answer in the best way, comma, space. comma, space, everything is very important when we look at the digital way of writing. How many pages for each answer? Many of you, all those who are teachers, might have faced such kind of questions quite often. Another one, sir, space, comma, space, 14 marks, na questions, ma, ketla pages, na. ANS, answer. Roman alphabets, there are Roman alphabets, but there is Gujarati language there. Gujarati language like na, this word, let me, yeah. I'm just picking up a pen. Yeah, this na is a Gujarati word here. Ma, ketla, is again a very interesting integration or interception of the Gujarati words here. This also is a Gujarati word. Lakhi, shakai is also a Gujarati word. Or I mean, lakhwa joiye. This is again a Gujarati expression that is coming here. Well, so you say that here, can you please, again, something is missing here, you find, when we try to be like a grammar Nazi, or the custodian of the grammar of English language, or when we try to be the moral police, we find a problem, lots of problems. Can you please guide me how to write answer in the best way? Well, it ends there, and then there is another one. So, well, you are not breaking the sentence. The students are not breaking they continue somewhere where they need to break. And then they very interestingly mingle this creolization of the language or pidgins that is happening here, that we can see here. Obviously, we need to, when we look at digital, we need to talk about this space also. Like if you say, sir, then comma without space, then space, and then the sentence continue. And obviously, when we think of academic writing, what is, where can we use 1, 4, 14 or 14 as spelling? That all becomes necessary there. Well, so that is very interesting way that the language comes. This is WhatsApp. This is the WhatsApp chat. Again, you see here the series of questions. Now here you see that what we perceive here, one thing as a behavior of our student or anybody who is chatting, because language, while we talk about language, you obviously somewhere we talk about behavioral patterns of human being also. So we'll go into the psycholinguistic aspects, that what is going in the mind that this language is emerging. So behavioral patterns, psycholinguistic way of looking, which will become a kind of a natural output of our looking at language also. So both the things are separate, but it will be very difficult to see that we can keep the psycholinguistic aspect or the behavioral things apart from the usage of language. So series of questions says that there is a kind of a nervousness. So you see after first, the second one coming at 1650, again 1650, 1651, 1651. Yeah. So very immediate. It means like the student is maybe a little bit nervous about something and constantly asking series of questions. And sir, can I give another presentation in the last? Well, immediately you want to say that at the end. You want to say at the end of the presentation. So instead you say in the last. Well, the grammar Nazis will obviously have terrible problem. Then from our syllabus only, you want to make a presentation connected with syllabus. That is what a student want to say. But and only. Can I make and submit another one? Yeah, okay. Can I, obviously, when we think of capitalization and submit another one, again, there is a missing space, additional space here before question mark. By today, during this presentation only, well, this ... is obviously something very interesting to be noticed by the researchers when they think of the chat language. I can try making new one if you allow, well, again, there is a missing question mark here. Well, so we see in this two or innumerable such chats or tweets or Facebook or Snapchat screenshots we can take, and we can question that what is this and how it happens. Well, at one level, I would say that I don't have any problem with this. At one level, perhaps I may say that I don't have any problem with this, and so whether it is let me stop sharing if I can easily find. Okay, fine. So if I want to say that, well, I don't have a problem because I can understand what the student is trying to say in this aspect. So absolutely without any problem, I can see that what are the concerns. So language has served the purpose. Why should we worry about that? That is one concern that comes there. But then as a teacher, we think that no, students should have a proper grasp over language and they should be using it in a proper way. So we have to battle between these two things. Shall I allow the language to flow as it is flowing, or shall I try to control the language in one or another way? Well, I know it very well as a human being, not as a teacher, that we cannot change the things which is going to happen, because this is a huge movement. This is not something that is just happening in one classroom or at one place only, but it is something that is happening very widely at so many places. So it will not be that easy that we can control this. Only thing we can study and see what happens. If I have to take a side personally, that whether you want to take and control the language or you want to allow that to happen, well, I would say that let language flow naturally as it is going. I don't have much problem with this language, though I may have a problem when I am checking answer books. As an academician, when I look at a language in answer books, perhaps I may have a problem. Now, how to overcome that is challenge. It is very, very much challenging. That if I accept a language on social media or in day-to-day communications, why am I not accepting that language in academia? So that again is something that we need to look very seriously. I don't have an exact answer for that. To what extent can we be liberal in terms of our academia is concerned, or to what extent we may be rigid in terms of our day-to-day communication also. But we know that this has happened quite a way back. If you see the brief history of when all these things started happening, then we find that I hope I have changed the slide and it is coming up properly. Yeah, I hope I'm showing the list of the Merriam-Webster's word of the year. Yeah. So 2004 word of the year was blog. In 2007 there was something like wood, a kind of an interjection with not double O but double zero coming in between, expressing a kind of a joy. Or Google as a verb, not as a noun, but as a verb. I am Googling, let me Google. That was there. Facebook, again, not as a noun, but as a verb, becomes the word of the year by Merriam-Webster dictionary. And so when I am doing something, for example, I am posting a picture or an information on social media, I say I am Facebooking. I may not be only on Facebook. I may be on the Twitter or Snapchat, but I may say I am Facebooking. So I'm doing something with social media. The same way American Dialect Society, when they started listing down, it went down in 90s. In 90s, we have the words like information superhighway. Now, this was something new. Superhighway is not a new word. Information is not a new word. But when they become a phrase, now this phrase is a new phrase, information superhighway, 1993. Cyber, obviously, 1995, WebOrf. Yeah. Now, we obviously have another alternative, webcoof. We have a word, those who are being fooled by, or those who are learning or believing that WhatsApp University is giving us true information. Even WhatsApp University, it itself is a very interesting way of putting. We tend to say that, well, you are a stupid person, but instead we say that it seems you have graduated from WhatsApp University. We don't say directly people that you are a stupid, you are a dumb, but we use the word WhatsApp University. Well, so Millennium Bug or E as a prefix, Y2K 1999, the people of my age, those who are around nearing the 50s or in the 50s, you know that Y2K was something tremendously happening, and everyday newspapers were full of Y2K bug, tweet, app, hashtag, again, something, because in our webinar title also there is a hashtag. When you correctly pronounce this title of our webinar, we have to say hashtag digitized English @social media. We can't remove this hashtag and @ here. Well, so how does digital culture affect English language when we try to look at, because it's a very interesting history that we have overcome, and we are moving in a similar direction after quite a long time in this process. So in the two chats of my students that I have shared with you, what human beings are doing, they apply jugaad. We have an Indian word jugaad. So using whatever is available to us. Many times I ask my students that in your mobile phone, you have a Gujarati lipi, Hindi lipi also. But why you use Roman alphabets when you want to say Gujarati? But well, initially, most of the mobile phones was supporting only Roman alphabets. So those habits has become a part of human behavior. And so with whatever we have, we try to use it. So that is something very interesting as a part of the culture. Jugaad is very much a part of an Indian culture that people are seeing or doing with whatever available, they communicate. Social media prompts play a very vital role in shaping the way we use language on social media. We'll see one or two examples. Then appropriating existing vocabulary, introducing new vocabulary. Very quickly, we'll overview this thing. So when we say prompts by social media, Twitter earlier, when Twitter was introduced, it used to prompt us. There is something written in the background. It says, what are you doing? And then we are supposed to write when we are on Twitter that, well, I am doing this and that. I am much personal when I say, I look inside me and try to ask, what am I doing? It's kind of an introvert behavior which I am putting on a public platform. That is how the Twitter began. It became a kind of a personal diary. It was a kind of a diary about what are you doing at this moment, and you put something there. But then Twitter changed the prompt and it became what's happening. What's happening now? This prompt is making me extrovert now. Now I don't have to look inside, but I have to look around me, surrounding. And then I say, he is doing this, she is doing that. This is happening around me. These people are doing that, that people are. So instead of that personal diary, it became a kind of a record of what is going on. It becomes a kind of a documentation of what is happening outside. That's how it happens. So now we say I from a personal pronoun to the second, third person pronouns, how I'm changing the language of social media. And what is shaping that? Prompts given by social media. Facebook nowadays is asking what's on your mind. Yeah? So it is very much personal, as well as we look outside also. Whatever is in the mind or on the mind, just share it. They just say, share it, whatever is either in or on the mind, share this. So how these prompts control usage of the language, that can be something very interesting to be studied also. Appropriating existing vocabulary, obviously very common terms like mouse, keyboard, monitor had changed way back in 1990s when we had used to have mouse and keyboards and other kinds of things. So then it was like, it's not that mouse, cat and mouse, or a keyboard where we are hanging our keys, or a classroom monitor. Now we are surprised sometimes to say this mouse is also cat and mouse. This keyboard is also a keyboard where we used to hang our keys, or a monitor is this. Well, tablet normally was used for medicine tablets, but now the things have changed. Trolls were those monstrous beings coming in a cartoon series. Now they are the people who are misbehaving on internet. Stream, sometimes when you go in the forest and you say, what are you doing? Well, I'm observing the stream, the rivulet. The water is streaming, crystal clear water is streaming. I am watching that. Well, now you say, what are you doing? I'm just watching a stream, live stream of this webinar is going on YouTube channel also. Yeah? So how things have changed. Fishing, what are you doing? I'm fishing. Well, today fishing is an alteration on fish, but committing a fraud on a fine. So appropriating this vocabulary. Same way, meme. Meme is a very popular word nowadays. Meme, obviously, people are still learning to pronounce the word meme properly also. Some say mimi, or variety of pronunciations they bring out when they want to say meme. So we go into the history of this word. Richard Dawkins, in the book, 1976 book, he coined this word, the selfish gene, where he coined this word meme. But then the meaning was completely different in terms of biology. Our physiology, it was sent. But now it is something different on internet. Meme is something that's spread via internet, often through social media platforms, and especially for humorous purposes. See? So even the word which was just coined in 1976 by Richard Dawkins has already changed its meaning coming down to 2020 or 2021. Even the words like blur or buffering are very interesting. So blur, we know that when we can't see clearly on the screen, we say that my screen is blurred. Live streaming, many a time it happens, the screen gets blurred because of low internet. But well, we said that, well, I am blurred, means I am confused. I am confused. Or buffering, when we are fumbling for words, when we are not having 4G internet, we used to keep on waiting for the buffering. YouTube video, watching a YouTube video was a kind of a punishment. Lots of buffering used to happen, circling around. Now, what we say I'm buffering means I'm fumbling for words. So this technology has given us a new vocabulary, which we are using in different contexts also. Obviously, new terms like unfriend, selfie, groupie, emoji, FOMO, using alphabets. Well, it's a normal thing which people are now obviously doing. This removal of vowels is something interesting to see. Management, development, when people use. Normally on tweet, when they tweet, they have to confine themselves to 140 characters. So what they do, the first thing that we think in mind, normally when I tend to tweet, I say that let us remove these vowels, unnecessary A, I, O, U, U. Why we need those things? The word development is development without all those vowels. Well, sometimes I think that if things will go in a similar way, will we have an alphabet without vowels? We will have the spellings without vowels. That can be something that we can imagine or think the future of the English language. Well, language will obviously change and it has to change. And I would take a side that we should not try to control the language. Technology has to do the thing and it has to do the changes, bring in the changes also. We know that the way Chaucer was using the language, we are not using now. The way Shakespeare was using the language, we are not using those spellings as such. That is there. And if still people have any doubt whether language should change or not, or it will remain stable, the best example is American English. In recent times, only in last 100 years, we have seen that how the Americanization of English has changed so many spellings today. So all these famous examples that I have given here, which obviously speaks about this, that how the spellings have already changed. And we now have an alternative or variant of the spelling, very much accepted variant of the spelling. And we should be ready for more of such variants also. We know Noah Webster, who after 1814, after their civil war with Britain, America is emerging as a new country, and Noah Webster thought that a common language would bring people together and help create a new identity that would make the country truly independent of the British. And so this dictionary is coming, American dictionary, and there are so many words, 70,000 words. Merriam-Webster, now it is popularly known as. So this can be an example to see that the new language can emerge in the ongoing time. Internet has a similar potential for doing that. What we need to do today is to minutely observe those changes that are happening there. Our research questions obviously can be but why are the fundamentals of language not changing? That also is something very pertinent to be asked here. What is changing over time and what is not? That also is very integral, because from the same example of Webster's, we get this also, that Webster had some successes as highlighted in the above slide. However, there are some changes that just didn't stick. For example, women, this women spelling has not changed, or tongue has not changed, or machine, these spellings are not accepted. Now, why are these spellings not accepted? That can also be the research question. So what is changing and what is not changing? How people are using this language on this. And sometimes we feel the fundamentals of language is not changing. Well, what happens is like 80% of the language remains as it is. 80% of the grammar remains as it is. some change is happening at somewhere 20% of the things on. What are these? Why this happens? That can be something very interesting for research scholars to examine also. What we need to research also is that predictive text generators, before we are writing, our mobile phone or our laptops are predicting the text. What is this? How does it work? So we enter also into digital humanities with this, that what kind of coding is going behind in the making of the software that they predict this particular word, or auto spell checkers or machine translations. That all needs to be also verified, because these predictive text generators are going to control the way people are typing the things nowadays, as we have auto captions and other kinds of things. So lots of text is generated by machine. And how is this machine predicting that you are speaking this or you want to write this? This can be an interesting area to be seen into this. Human behavior also we need to check. We are becoming too much superstitious in a way that whatever technology is doing is quite right. Now this is our superstition, and we need to come out from the superstitions or blind reliance on science and technology, that all autocorrections are right. It may not be so. So that is to be seen carefully. Creolization due to communication over digital platform also needs to be seen in different capacities also. So this is a very interesting interesting topic, and it opens up so many research questions in our mind. But something very dynamic is happening so far as our language is concerned, and it will be very interesting to see how the keynote speakers and the plenary speakers are making us more hungry to know more about what the digital life, digital culture is doing with our language there. If anybody is asking me that are you with the change or not, my answer is that yes, I want to see how this language will change in our time and what kind of digital influence it is going to bring. It is bringing difference in a very interesting way. I look at this change in a very positive way. Thank you for giving me this chance to share my views on this digitized English at social media. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dilip Barad, for wonderful presentation and citing funny language of our generation. Sir, you are rightly put the new possibility of the language under the impact of the internet and digital influence. The topic you discuss throw light on various possibilities of language, new slangs and all, which is really going to concern for the English teacher. Thank you very much again, sir, for the wonderful presentation. Now going ahead, as